Once upon a time, in an old Indian kingdom surrounded by dry fields, dusty roads, and ancient banyan trees whose roots hung like silent witnesses of time, there lived a poor potter named Gopal. Gopal's house stood at the edge of the village, where the land was least fertile and hope often felt thin. The walls were made of cracked mud, patched again and again by his own hands. During the monsoon, rainwater slipped through the weak roof and gathered in small puddles on the floor. In summer, the house baked like an oven. Yet Gopal never complained. His hands were always stained with clay. No matter how hard he washed them in the river, the earth stayed with him, as if it had chosen him for life. To the villagers, Gopal was just another potter, quiet, poor, and ordinary. But inside him lived something rare, a silent belief that his life was meant for more than mere survival. Every morning, long before the sun rose, Gopal walked barefoot to the riverbank. The cold mud pressed between his toes as he collected clay, humming old tunes his father once sang. He worked under a neem tree whose leaves whispered with the wind. By noon, rows of pots stood drying in the sun, simple pots, round and plain. The villagers bought his pots because they were cheap, not because they were beautiful. They believed beauty was for palaces and temples, not for the hands of a poor potter. But Gopal believed differently. As he shaped the clay, his mind traveled beyond the village. He imagined pots so strong they would not crack, even after years of use. Pots so smooth they felt like flowing water under the fingers. Pots that did not leak, tilt, or break easily. At night, when the village slept and even the dogs lay still, Gopal stayed awake beside his kiln. The fire glowed like a living heart, breathing warmth into the darkness. He experimented, mixing different soils, adjusting fire temperatures, reshaping broken pots. Many failed. Some shattered inside the kiln, others cracked while cooling. There were nights when Gopal sat silently, staring at broken pieces scattered on the ground, wondering if everyone else was right. Still, he continued. One evening, as the oil lamp flickered, Gopal finally spoke of his dream to his mother. "I want to make pots that even the palace would use," he said softly, almost afraid of his own words. His mother paused her spinning wheel. Her face, lined by years of struggle, tightened with worry. "Son," she said gently, "we are potters. Be grateful for what we have. Kings do not look at people like us. Dreams can make life heavier." Gopal nodded, but his heart remained restless. The next day, he gathered courage and spoke to the village elders. He told them about his plan, to take his finest pots to the royal market in the capital city. Laughter followed. "Do you know who sells there?" One elder scoffed. "Master craftsmen with generations of skill," said another. "You will waste your savings and return hungry," warned a third. Even his fellow potters pulled him aside. "If you fail," they whispered, "people will mock all of us. Do not bring shame." Every voice around him said no. That night, Gopal sat alone beside his kiln. The fire crackled softly. Shadows danced on the ground. Doubt pressed heavily on his chest. But then, beneath all the noise of fear and rejection, he heard a quieter voice, his own. "If you do not go, you have already failed." Before dawn, Gopal wrapped his 5 finest pots in old cloth. He touched his mother's feet for blessings. She placed her trembling hand on his head, saying nothing, yet praying silently. And then, he began the long walk to the capital. The journey was cruel. The sun burned his skin until it felt raw. Thorns cut his feet, leaving blood on the dusty road. Hunger followed him like a shadow. Twice, he stopped, ready to turn back. Once, when one pot developed a small crack, Gopal sat on the roadside and cried like a child. "Everyone was right," he whispered. "I am foolish to dream." At that moment, an old wandering monk appeared, leaning on a wooden staff. His eyes were calm, deep like still water. "Why do you cry, Potter?" the monk asked. Gopal told him everything, his dream, the village's rejection, his fear of failure. The monk smiled. "When a seed wishes to become a tree," he said, "the soil says no, the stone says no, the wind says no. Only the seed says yes." With that, the monk walked away. Gopal rose with renewed strength. When he finally reached the royal market, his courage faded again. The place was grand beyond imagination: silk tents, gold ornaments, shining metalwork, and pottery that looked flawless. His pot suddenly felt small and unworthy. A guard blocked his path. "Only approved sellers may enter," he said. This was the final no. Just then, fate intervened. The royal water-bearer passed by, holding a cracked palace pot that leaked steadily. Gopal stepped forward, heart pounding. "Sir," he said humbly, "may I show you a pot that does not crack?" The man hesitated, then tested it. Not a single drop fell. The pot reached the palace. The cook tested it. Then the steward. Then the queen herself. Kneeling before her, Gopal felt smaller than ever. "Who taught you this craft?" the queen asked. "Failure," Gopal replied. "And belief," she smiled. "From today, you will supply pottery to the palace." When Gopal returned to his village weeks later, people stared in disbelief. The same elders who laughed now praised him. The same potters who doubted him now sought his advice. That evening, his mother asked, "What did you learn, my son?" Gopal replied, "When everyone says no, sometimes it is not wisdom. It is fear speaking through many mouths." And so, the poor potter became a legend. Moral of the story is simple. When everyone says no, trust yourself. History is written not by those who followed the crowd, but by those who listened to their quiet inner voice.